My dear friends, I warmly welcome you all to today's session of the QuickBooks training course. And today, in our today's lecture, we will discuss about the inventory module within QuickBooks. My dear friends, before we discuss further about inventory, we must have an understanding about this terminology. So, my dear friends, inventory is basically the accounting terminology that is given to those items that are sold by a business in order to generate its revenue. Whenever we are talking about selling of goods, so this means that we are either talking about a trading business or we are talking about a manufacturing business. My dear friends, as you already know that the kind of business that we are operating within this QuickBooks training course is a service business. However, along with providing services, we are also the dealers of different goods that relate to the manufacturing industry. So this means that the nature of our business is not only of a service industry, rather it is also of a trading industry. All right, so this means that we are also able to sell and maintain inventory within our QuickBooks, and we have what do we say, activated the inventory module within QuickBooks. All right, so first of all, my dear friends, we will see that from where can we activate the inventory module within QuickBooks in case if at the time of registration of our company on QuickBooks we have not activated it. All right, for this purpose, what we have to do is we have to select the edit menu. My dear friends, before I proceed towards the area where I want to take you guys in order to activate the inventory module, let me request you to give a look at your dashboard. You can see the purchase order mentioned over here under the vendor section, then the receive inventory module, and then enter bills, etc. If let's suppose at the time of registration of our company, we had simply selected a service industry as our business type, and we had not selected that our business would sell both inventory and provide services, then our dashboard would have a separate kind of look. All right. What kind of look our dashboard would have given at that time? Let me show you that as well. First of all, we'll go to the edit menu and select preferences. This screen will appear in front of us and we have to navigate towards items and inventory portion. We have to go to the company preferences. As you guys can see that already the very first option has been checked. Inventory and purchase orders are active. This is because at the time of registering our company on QuickBooks, we had selected this option that our business would provide both construction services as well as some trading services regarding construction material. All right. Had we not had we had not selected this option, so this would have appeared unchecked in front of us, and automatically the other two options would be become, you can say, uneditable. So my dear friends, let me just show you the kind of interface we would have seen in case this module was not activated. For this purpose, I will select OK, and in order to make these changes effective, QuickBooks will have to close all the windows. I will select OK, and now my dear friends, QuickBooks is processing these changes. In order to see the effect of these changes, I will navigate back to my QuickBooks home, my company home, and my dear friends, now you guys can see that the whole interface has changed. Now we have no option of a purchase order, we have no option of receiving inventory or what do we say, other items that are basically related to inventory alone. All right, the only item that we can see is basically related to entering bills and paying bills, etc. All right, so my dear friends, in order to actually activate inventory module, we have to go to the edit menu, we have to select preferences, we have to go to items and inventory, we have to go to the company preferences, and we have to check this item. And this item, when it is brought into effect, will actually enable us to make our inventory records within QuickBooks. All right, so the first option says that inventory and purchase orders are active. The second option says that warn about duplicate purchase order numbers. My dear friends, what is a purchase order? We will discuss this in detail in our today's lecture. But right now, I'm just reading out the options that we have. The third option says warn if not enough inventory quantity on hand. to sell. My dear friends, I want you guys to remember, sometimes while we will creating invoices to our customers, uh, QuickBooks usually gave us, you can say, a pop-up or a warning that the item that we want to sell or the item that we are interested in making an invoice of to our customer is basically not available in that quantity within our inventory records that we have maintained within QuickBooks. But this pop-up was only a warning, and it did not forbid us, or it did not forbid us to actually proceed towards making that invoice. What is the reason? The reason is that this is possible that at the time when we are creating an invoice, we do not have that item in our stock. But this is also not possible that the customer will take that item with him at the same time when the invoice is generated. Normally, the period between we invoice a customer and the period when the actual delivery of goods take place might be different. Sometimes the goods are delivered in advance and the invoicing is made at another time, and sometimes invoicing is made in advance and the goods are delivered at some other time. All right, so there is a possibility that at the time we are generating this invoice, we do not have that amount of material in our hands. But before the delivery date is basically there, we can actually order that particular items from our vendors. All right, so this is why we want QuickBooks to give us a warning at least, so we have a knowledge that the particular item that we intend to sell to any of our customers, we do not have that sufficient amount of inventory in our hands. All right, so my dear friends, you just select OK, and again QuickBooks will take some time to make these changes in effect. And now when you will navigate to your company home, you guys can see that we are again available with this particular kind of dashboard that we were you can say used to of watching. So my dear friends, inventory is basically of three types. Let me just open my Excel sheet in order to give you guys a little explanation of inventory. My dear friends, inventory is basically a broad name, and according to the standard of inventory that we study in accounting, that is basically the International Accounting Standard number 2, we have three different kinds of inventory. All right. The first kind of inventory is actually the raw material that we purchase from our suppliers or our vendors, or that can either be available free as a free resource, as a natural resource in this world. All right, and this raw material is basically subject to some further value addition in order to convert this raw material into an item that is known as a finished good, and this finished good is basically then sold by the business to the customers as the final product. For example, if I am engaged in a business of wooden furniture, so the raw material that is of prime importance in my business is wood. Now this wood could be purchased from the lumber industry, and it can also be obtained by some cutting in the forest. All right, cutting wood in the forest. So wood is available as a natural resource, and I can also purchase it from my vendors or suppliers. All right, now this wood would be subject to some value addition. That means it will be subject to some manufacturing processes within my factory, and this would be converted into a final product, that is the wooden furniture. Let's suppose a wooden table. All right, and the intention of my business is to sell this wooden table to the customers in order to generate income or revenue. All right, whereas my dear friends, at the end of the day, when I'm interested in knowing the output that my factory has generated, so when I go to my factory and see, so some of the raw material is still unused, whereas some of the raw material, that means wood, has been converted into the finished output, that means the wooden table. However, there are also a few materials that are not, that cannot be called a wood, because they are not in the shape of a wood. However, they are not completed 100%, or completely, they are not basically 100% processed and converted into finished good as well. Rather, they are something in between. Such kind of goods are basically known as work in process or work in progress. All right. And this is also a kind of inventory. This is such kind of inventory that is not yet converted from raw material into finished good. Rather, it is in the process of conversion. All right. So according to the standard of inventory that we study in accounting, whenever we talk about inventory, so inventory can either be raw material inventory, it can either be finished good inventory, and it can either be work in progress inventory. My dear friends, let me tell you another thing that is important. Whenever we purchase inventory or whenever we create inventory, so the first time inventory is registered into our systems, it is recorded as an asset. All right. So first time when inventory is registered into our systems, whether it is the finished good inventory or whether it is the raw inventory, so it is always registered as an asset. Whereas whenever we sell this inventory, so the sale of inventory is basically considered as an expense. All right. The sale of inventory is considered as an expense. So my dear friends, the account that we use in our accounting records in order to record inventory is normally the inventory account or the stock account. And sometimes if we use the periodic system for recording inventory, so we can also make use of the purchases account. In some countries, inventory is also known as merchandise, so we can also make use of the merchandise account, etc. Whereas whenever we sell this piece of inventory, so the cost of that inventory that was previously recorded as an asset within our financial statements, that means our balance sheet, the cost of that particular inventory would be treated as an expense and it would be charged to the income statement or the profit and loss account or the statement of comprehensive income. And this expense is basically known as the cost of sale expense. All right. Sale expense. My dear friends, inventory is always registered within the accounting records as its cost price. All right. Whereas, my dear friends, whenever the inventory is sold, it is normally sold on the sales price, and it is a convention that the sales price is always greater than the cost price. This is why we attach the element of profit whenever we sell any piece of inventory or any batch of inventory. All right. So, my dear friends, the amount that we receive from our customers when we sell inventory to them is basically known as our sale proceed. All right. And the sale proceed is basically recorded in an account that is basically known as the sales account or the revenue account. All right. In order to record this revenue, you guys already know that all the financial transactions are passed on the basis of a bookkeeping system, and conventionally the double entry bookkeeping system is basically followed. So whenever some inventory item is sold, so what you have to do, you have to record an entry in your physical systems as if let's suppose the transaction is on cash, so you will debit your cash account by that sale proceed value, and you will credit the sale proceeds account by crediting the sales or revenue account. All right. However, my dear friends, in QuickBooks, you are not required to perform the following journal entries: inventories regarding purchase of inventory, inventories regarding sale of inventory. All right. Let me write inventory over here in common. Similarly, my dear friends, you are not required to make any entry in QuickBooks for receipt from customers regarding inventory. That means the sales that you have made. Similarly, the payments you make to suppliers, payments to suppliers regarding the inventory that has been purchased. All right. All these accounting treatments are performed by QuickBooks by its own self, whenever you maintain the proper documents for these systems. And what are those documents? These documents are basically the purchase orders. These documents are the bills that are provided to you by your supplier. These are the cash payments within QuickBooks that you make, and these are the invoices that you generate to your customers, and some estimates that you generate to your customers. All right. So by these proper documentation that you are maintaining, QuickBooks by its own self, it actually performs all the accounting regarding the purchase and sale of inventory and the receipt from customers or the payments to suppliers. All right. All other entries, for example, purchase of a furniture, purchase of another asset, all these kinds of transactions can be recorded within QuickBooks by passing journal entries. How do you pass journal entries? We will discuss this in some other lecture. All right. So my dear friends, first of all, let me take you guys back to the QuickBooks dashboard. So whenever we want to initiate the process of ordering inventory, so first of all, what we have to do is we have to generate a purchase order. You guys already know in detail what we mean by purchase order, and what are the next steps uh, in the process that the businesses normally use. All right. But before that, my dear friends, you must have an insight about how to maintain a list of inventory within our QuickBooks. All right. My dear friends, as a QuickBooks consultant or as a QuickBook power user or a first-hand user, you guys might be facing two scenarios. First scenario is that in the company where you have gone to implement QuickBooks, that company has recently started its operations, and this is the first time that the company wants to start its operations, and it wants to operate QuickBooks, or it want to have QuickBooks implemented from the very beginning of its business. And the second scenario might be that the company where you have gone to implement QuickBooks, that company is already in operation since a few years, and it is already maintaining its records on some other system, for example Microsoft Excel, or maybe the manual accounting systems, for example the books of accounts that were previously used before these electronic systems were in practice. All right. So my dear friends, you guys already know how can we maintain our inventory, or how can we register different items of inventory within our QuickBooks. All right. So for this purpose, what we have to do, we have to go to the list menu. We have to go to the items list, and you have to go to this item drop down on the bottom left side of the page, and you have to select a new item. And over here, since we are interested in registering an inventory part item, so we have to select this inventory part. Over here, my dear friends, you have to enter the name of the product or the number of the product that you want to register. My dear friends, why are we interested in writing a serial number of the product? Because if you talk about retail businesses, so normally there are a large number of products, and sometimes the name of the products are also interrelated. So it is a possibility that we want to register another product, but by some mistake that is committed by us, what we do is that we record another item. All right. So this is why normally such businesses where there is huge piles of inventory, they use serial numbers. So right now we can just make use of, you can say, an item that is known as a light bulb. All right. So my dear friends, what we have to do next is we have to write the manufacturer's part number if there is any. All right. You guys already know, you are familiar with this screen, and you have already created different inventory part items in your previous assignments as well. Basically, the manufacturer part number is important to write over here, because normally when we want to order the same amount from our supplier, so we must tell him that this particular part number that you deal in, we are interested in purchasing this item. All right. So my dear friends, you can write the cost over here as well. You can write the sales price over here as well, and you have to also tell the accounts that are associated with this particular what do we say, item, all right. And you can also set the reorder point or on hand items, and the total value will automatically be calculated, all right. So right now I'm just interested in telling you guys how can we register a particular item, all right. So we are interested in registering this light bulb as our piece of inventory. So what I do is I simply select OK. Since it is basically a material, so I will select building material income, this account, all right. So my dear friends, you can also select prefer vendor, but right now I'm not interested in that. The asset account is already selected as inventory asset, all right. So my dear friends, I select this OK, and now this particular item, as you guys can see, is already registered. Now my dear friends, I am interested in telling you guys how can we make a sub item of this particular inventory. What we simply do is we again go to the items list, we select new item, and we select an inventory part. Now my dear friends, I am interested in maintaining a new inventory item that is a sub item of basically light bulb. So my dear friends, you know that light bulbs can be of different types. Let's suppose that I'm interested in registering halogen bulb, all right. So the manufacturer's part number, this manufacturer's part number must be related to a preferred vendor. Let's suppose that if there are more than one vendors from where you actually purchase this particular item, so it is not recommended that you write a manufacturer's part number. However, if you have a preferred vendor for this particular item, so it is recommended highly that you write the manufacturer's part number over here. Since this information is basically not of a big concern right now, so I'm just leaving it blank. However, let us assume that the cost for this particular item is 550, and we sell it at a price of 800, all right. The account is cost of goods sold, it is a taxable item. The preferred vendor, we are not let us okay now assume that Mr. Fazal Abbas is basically the preferred vendor for this particular item, and we just write some part as well over here. Okay, so Mr. Fazal Abbas is the preferred vendor, and this is the manufacturer's part number. The income account is basically the building material income. Now let us suppose that currently the reorder point, that means the point at which we are interested in reordering this piece of inventory once it actually is used up within our what do we say, system. That means we have sold this amount. So the reorder level that we want to set for this particular piece of inventory is, let's suppose, 500 units. Let it be 100 units, all right. And let us suppose that the inventory that we have currently in hand for this particular item is basically 800 units. So my dear friends, you guys can see that automatically the total value of this particular inventory that we have in our hand as an opening balance is calculated as 440,000. And how has it been calculated? It has been calculated by multiplying 800 by its cost of 550, all right. So my dear friends, you can write the date as well. So let's suppose that this is the date at which we have this particular item on hand. So what I have to do next is I have to select OK. And now my dear friends, you guys can see that basically light bulb is my primary inventory or the parent inventory, whereas the halogen bulb is basically a sub item of this particular inventory item, all right. Now my dear friends, let me introduce an other sub item of this particular inventory type. So what I simply have to do is I can again repeat these steps by selecting item, new item, etc. But there is an other shortcut for this. Let me just select halogen bulb and right click over it and select duplicate item. When I will select duplicate item, so this particular name would appear under the item name or number box. Now, since it is not actually a duplicate, rather I was just wanting to, what do we say, save my time. So what I do is, I just like fluorescent bulb. All right, this is again light bulb, sub item of light bulb. And here I can change the manufacturer's part number, because this is basically a new item that is being registered. So let us assume that the cost is basically 300 for this particular item, and the sale price is basically 620. The cost of goods sold account is the same, the item is taxable. The preferred vendor, let it be Mr. Fazal Abbas, the income account is basically the same. So the reorder level is again 100 for this particular bulb, and the amount that I have in hand for this particular inventory piece is 450 units. And as you guys can see that the total value of this inventory that I have in hand right now is automatically calculated. Now my dear friends, what I do is I select OK, and now I have an other sub item of this main or parent inventory item, light bulb, available in my list. So this is how, my dear friends, we can register a new inventory item, and we can also register some sub items for a particular inventory item. Now my dear friends, let me tell you another important thing, and that important thing actually relates to how can we what we say import some inventory list from a foreign source, that means any source other than QuickBooks. For this purpose, let me open up a list of inventory that I have maintained in Microsoft Excel, and let us suppose that that list is basically the list that our client has provided us, that we have to register in QuickBooks. All right, so let me open my Microsoft Excel and show you how can we actually import some items from QuickBooks in order to register it into QuickBooks. So my dear friends, this is basically a list of some items that our customer has provided us with. You guys can see that there are a few columns. The first column is about the serial number. The second column is about the item name or its number, sales description. Then comes the asset account, the income account, the cost of goods sold account, the cost, the price, that means the cost price and the selling price, and the quantity in hand. All right. So my dear friends, how can we register these items from some external source, that means Microsoft Excel, to QuickBooks? So we navigate to QuickBooks, and as you guys can see that on your dashboard under the heading company, there are a few options, and there is one option that says items and services. You have to select this option, and over here, my dear friends, what you have to do, you have to select the option of Microsoft Excel. Once you select this, there are three items. There are three options. The first option says import items, the second option says paste from Excel, and the third option says export all items. So what you have to do, you can also import items, but it will take time. The simplest thing is that you select the option of paste from Excel. Once you select this particular screen would be there in front of you. All right. So my dear friends, what you have to do is, first of all, you can also arrange this interface that is basically in front of you according to your Excel sheet. And then you can simply copy this information from Excel and paste it on what do we say, QuickBooks. All right. And if you do not want to disturb the interface of QuickBooks, so then carefully you have to select each column, and you have to copy it from Excel, and you have to paste it under the same column heading within QuickBooks. All right. So let us begin. First of all, we select these items, and let us see first of all our QuickBooks interface. All right. So we are not interested in the sub item. However, we are interested in sale price. We are interested in income account, and the sales tax code. Yes, this is also something of our interest. But let us now first of all customize these columns. So now let us see, my dear friends, what information do we have and what options can we actually see, want to see over here. So we want to have some sales description. All right. So we add this, and we want to show this description under the item name. All right. We are not interested in seeing the sub item of over here, so we can simply remove it. All right. We are interested in cost as well, so we select this, we add this up, we move it up, and we want to see cost before sales price. All right. We also want to see the expense account. We add this up, and we move it up in order to have it under the income account. All right, we just select OK and go to our Microsoft Excel in order to see how can we further change our QuickBook dashboard according to this. So basically we're not interested in serial numbers, so we can simply hide this column. Now my dear friends, we have item name and number, we have the sales description, we have the asset account, we have the income account, we want the cost of goods sold account as well, and we are also interested in quantity in hand. For this purpose, we go back to Microsoft Excel, QuickBooks. We have the item name, we have the sales description, and what else do we need? After this, we have to show the asset account, and over here we have the cost item available over here. All right, so what we have to do, we have to customize the column. We have to show the expense account first. Okay, so my dear friends, here you can see that we have the item name or number column on QuickBooks on the first place. On the second place, we have the sales description column. In the third place, we must have the asset account column. In the fourth place, we must have the income account column. So let us arrange the income account column after the expense account. We move it up. All right. And what else do we have on Microsoft Excel that we do not have in QuickBooks? After the cost account, we have the cost, and then we have the sale price, and then we have a quantity in hand column. Now, my dear friends, we do not have two columns appearing in in QuickBooks. All right. And all other columns, the remaining columns we do have over there. So how can we enter some customized fields over there? So first of all, we must find out whether we have these items available in the available column list or not. Since we do not have it, so this means that we have to create some customized columns. All right. So my dear friends, for this purpose, what we do is that we simply save these changes and we close this list. Now, my dear friends, what you have to do, you have to go to the item drop down. You have to select new item. And my dear friends, over here, you can see this field once again where you can register a new item. All right. So you have to select the option of custom fields over here. All right. So you select OK and select define fields. Now, my dear friends, what you have to do is you have to see the fields that you have to define. First of all, you have to define a field for asset account. So I write over here asset account and I select the tick mark over here because I'm interested in using this. And the second field that I want to inculcate is basically the quantity in hand field, the QIH. You can also write it in the full form, quantity in hand. All right. And you can also use this. Once you select OK, now these fields will be appearing in your list. So my dear friends, what I have to do is I have to go again to Microsoft Excel. I have to select paste from Excel. Now my dear friends, I have to include those customized columns over here. So my dear friends, I select the asset account as well. I select control and asset account and I select add. I move it up in order to reposition it before the sales description, just like I have in Microsoft Excel. And I want to include the quantity in hand column as well. So I select this and I want to keep it in the end just like I have it on my Excel interface. All right. So I now select OK. Now, my dear friends, the shape of this dashboard is basically according to the dashboard on Microsoft Excel. So now what I have to do is I have to just go to the end and I have to simply copy the information from Microsoft Excel, and I have to paste it in QuickBooks. All right. Now, my dear friends, over here, I have committed an error, and that is basically performed on purpose so that you guys can understand that sometimes what happens is that if you do not copy this information in the proper way, some error can be seen over here. All right. Now, wooden paneling is basically an error because this name is already in use. Please use another name. So you can change this name to wooden blocks. All right. Wooden paneling blocks. All right. Now, my dear friends, in the expense account, basically we had some, yes, this is basically the expense account that should have been over there. So what we simply do is we change this, and now I select material income, building material income. All right. I copy it down, and over here I have to select the cost of goods sold account. All right. I simply select this, I right click this and select copy down, so it will automatically be copied down. All right. And now the sales tax code, I have to actually, this is the quantity in hand that I had to, this sales tax column must be removed. Okay. Now, my dear friends, I just go to Microsoft Excel, select this, copy it, go back to QuickBook and paste this information. All right. So now, my dear friends, all this information has been pasted from Microsoft Excel. And now we will just save this item. This information has now been saved, and all this inventory has been recorded and registered from Microsoft Excel within our QuickBook records. All right. So my dear friends, coming back to our main page, now all these items can be seen available in our list. So my dear friends, now coming back to our main dashboard. Now, my dear friends, let us make a purchase order in order to purchase inventory. For this purpose, you can access the purchase order option on your dashboard, or you can go to your vendor section and you can create purchase orders from this option as well. All right. So we will select the purchase order option on our home screen. Once you select, my dear friends, this particular screen will appear in front of you. My dear friends, if you have to purchase any particular inventory item, so you guys must remember what is your preferred vendor for this particular piece of inventory. For example, my dear friends, if I'm interested in purchasing light bulbs, all right, the fluorescent bulb, and I want to, let's suppose, order 500 units of fluorescent bulbs. So Mr. Fazal Abbas is my preferred vendor, and automatically Mr. Fazal Abbas has been chosen. I I actually did not selected him myself. All right. Whereas if I purchase another item for which there is basically no particular, you can say, um, preferred vendor. So when I will select this, now this means that automatically I'm purchasing this item from Mr. Fazal Abbas as well. However, if I want to purchase both these items from some other vendor, so this means that I must select another vendor from my list. All right. So right now I'm just selecting this particular vendor. So I have to order 200 wooden door frames. All right, and this is the total amount that has been calculated. So my dear friends, this is basically the format for purchase order, and it looks similar to an invoice that we have already been making previously in QuickBooks. So my dear friends, this is basically the date at which you are creating this purchase order, and this is the purchase order number. As you guys can see, this is 4. All right, this is the address of the vendor, and this is basically the site area where we want this particular purchase order to be basically these items to be delivered. However, my dear friends, there is an other option that relates to drop ship to. This drop ship to, when you collect this drop down, so here you guys can see that your customers and your vendors are basically all of them are listed over here, as well as your employees are listed over here. All right, so drop ship to option means that you want your vendor to deliver on your behalf these items directly to your customer or some other vendor or any of your employees. All right, so right now we are not making use of this option, but I just told you in order to enlighten you guys about this particular option. All right, so my dear friends, here you can write any customized message as well, and you can also attach some memo over here. So the total bill is basically 350,000 of the items that we have to purchase from this particular vendor. So this is basically a purchase order. So we just select save and close, and this particular purchase order would be generated. My dear friends, this is the first step towards our inventory management system. My dear friends, when you create a purchase order, the next step is that you receive inventory from your vendor against the purchase order that you have actually given him. All right. So in order to receive this piece of inventory, what will happen, that there will be some bill or invoice that is generated to you by your supplier or your vendor. All right. So my dear friends, basically, QuickBooks uses the name of bill in order to denote the invoice that our suppliers charge us, in order to differentiate the bill from the vendor, from the, what do we say, the invoice that we charge our customers. So my dear friends, in order to receive this piece of inventory, what we have to do, we have to select this particular item on our list, and here we have two further options: receive inventory with bill or receive inventory without bill. Sometimes the items that are sent to us by our vendor, the invoice is sent alongside, whereas sometimes the items are received in advance, whereas the bill is received later. So first of all, we'll try to see how it happens when we receive inventory with a bill. So my dear friends, over here you have to select your purchase order either from this option on the top, or you can select your vendor from here, and any purchase order that is previously given to this particular customer will automatically be fetched. All right, so for example, I selected Mr. Fazal Abbas, so QuickBook is basically letting me know that there is an open purchase order against this particular vendor, and if I want to use that purchase order, so I have to select yes. So if I select no and use this option, so again I have to, QuickBooks will let me know that there is one purchase order active. So I will select this and select OK. So my dear friends, this is basically the bill that is here in front of me. Now my dear friends, there is one other important thing that I want you guys to know. There can be a question in your mind that why are we filling the bill by ourselves if our customer has already delivered this to us? So basically, the customer will deliver this bill to us either by mail or through an email or the normal post. All right. So my dear friends, we have to input that piece of information from the document that we have in the hard form into our QuickBooks system. And for this purpose, what we have to do is we have to maintain this formality. All right. In order to record this bill into our system. So my dear friends, over here, this is the reference number of the invoice that our vendor has issued to us. Let us suppose that this is, This is the, let us suppose, the reference number, that means the invoice number. All right. And over here, my dear friends, all the information that was previously incorporated on the bill is there. Over here, this is the amount due, and this is basically the amount that was charged per item. Sometimes, my dear friends, it is possible that at the time we actually make the purchase order, the price is something else, but due to inflation or some other reason, the time at which these goods are received to us, or the time when our customer bills us, the price of those goods might be different. All right. So let's suppose that instead of 350,000, the invoice is basically of 400,000. So what we simply have to do is we have to erase the amount due from 350,000 and write 400,000 over here. And in order to adjust this amount, what we have to do is we have to write 200,000 instead of 50,000 over here in order to balance the amount, and automatically the cost per unit would be changed. So my dear friends, what we have to do is we have to save this, and now the total balance of this particular, the total payable balance to this particular customer would also increase. Now the QuickBook, the warning that it is giving to me is that the credit limit from Mr. Fazal Abbas is 250,000. The current balance including this transaction is 400,000. Do I want to continue or not? So this is, my dear friends, the strength of the internal controls that can be employed by QuickBooks, that it is giving me a warning that the credit limit that I am entitled to enjoy against this particular customer is basically in the course of breach. So now if I am the system administrator, I can allow it. And if some junior accountant is doing this and I want it to reject, so this is basically I can reject it as well. So right now, since we are basically in the process of training, so I will just select yes. And now this particular inventory items have been received. Now, my dear friends, since you guys remember that when we ordered inventory, when we basically sold inventory to our customers, so we created invoices and then we received payments from them, and then we recorded the deposits in our bank accounts. Same is the case over here. We first generated a purchase order and then we received inventory. All right. Now, my dear friends, I can also receive inventory without a bill. So first of all, I have to see if I have any pay or purchase order available. Since I do not have any, so let me create another purchase order. I go to the purchase order, I select a vendor. So let us suppose this is Mr. Tariq Aziz, and from Mr. Tariq Aziz, I want to purchase, let's suppose, let me select an item, any of the items that we have created. Okay, crust stones. This is the newly created item. So let us select the quantity. Let us suppose I'm interested in buying 200 tons of this item or whatever the unit of measurement is. And I save it and close it. So now a purchase order has been created. I select the receive inventory and receive inventory without a bill. So over here, my dear friends, I can select the purchase order. I have to select vendor from here, Mr. Tariq Aziz. I select this particular purchase order and I save it and close it. This means that I have received this without a bill. All right. Currently, the customer, the vendor has not billed me. All right. Let us see this process once again. I selected receive inventory and receive inventory without a bill. No matter I am receiving inventory with the bill or without a bill, this is basically the item receipt node that is basically generated by the QuickBooks system. All right. So I select OK, and now I will save it and close it. Now the items have been received. Now for this purpose, I will now enter bill. Now I have to select the vendor, Mr. Tariq Aziz. And now, my dear friends, I select OK. A bill will be generated automatically. Now the same item receipt note that was created in the previous segment of this session just a few minutes ago. Now my dear friends, that item receipt is now converted into a bill. All right. So as you guys can see, the press stones quantity 200 and the same amount. So I just save it and close it. And now this would change this transaction, increasing my payable balance in my QuickBooks. All right. So now my dear friends, what is happening that I have converted that item receipt note into a bill. So now my dear friends, if I am interested in paying the bills, so I have to select this particular option of paying bills. All right. Over here right now, I have two different kinds of invoices that are ready for payment. So I can actually apply some filters as well. For example, I can select a particular vendor. For example, I'm interested in paying Mr. Tariq Aziz for this items I have purchased from him. Similarly, I can make some other sorts as well, different kinds of sorts. For example, credits used, discount used, reference number, amount due, vendor, discount date, etc. All right. So right now, I can also select some customization through the calendar. All right. For example, due on before, or I can select show all bills, and then since I have already applied a customized filter for Mr. Tariq Aziz, so this particular bill is basically in front of me. So I will select this amount. We will discuss these items that are written over here later. All right. So all I have to do is I have to select the method. So I can also pay through credit card. I can pay through check since I have not registered any credit card over here. So I will select the checking option. All right. And now I have to select the bank account from where I have to pay. So this is the company bank account, and I can select the option of pay selected bills. Now my dear friends, I can print this check as well. All right. So in order to pay this particular check, what I have to do, I have to select this option. So these are all the list of bills that I have paid through check, and I have the option of basically getting a printout of these checks. Normally, my dear friends, companies use blank checks, and they enter these blank checks into their printer systems, and they give the print command, and all these things are replicated on that blank check, and this check is then printed as a pre-printed check. All right. So if you guys have any blank check available with you right now, and you want to test this, and you also have a printer system available, so you guys can make use of this option as well. So since I'm not interested in printing, so what can I do? Just showing you the final stage of this screen. This is basically the final. Over here I can print it on my OneNote right now, because right now I have no other printer available. So you just cancel this. All right. So my dear friends, this is how you can also print your checks that you have paid to your suppliers. My dear friends, let me now tell you another aspect. You go to the report section, you go to your inventory section, and you select the physical inventory worksheet. So my dear friends, this particular list is basically the list of all the inventory that is in your hand, that means available in your go down or your store right now. Now this is a very important sheet normally for the purposes of audit as well, both for internal audit as well as external audit. Now as you guys can see that the item name is also listed over here. You can drill each item down. This is basically one of the specialties of QuickBooks, all right, that you can drill down each report so that you can customize it further. All right. And going back, the description is also available. The profit vendor is also listed. The quantity on hand is listed. And the fifth column is basically empty. Now this column actually relates to the physical count. All right. You can either print this, you can either email this or extract this on Excel. You can also memorize this kind of report. All right. You can also customize it by including or decluding different columns, or arranging in ascending or descending order, applying certain filters, or changing the headers or footers or fonts, etc. All right. So this is basically the different kind of choice that you have. So basically, when physical count of inventory will be conducted, what will happen that against each particular item, for example, ABC cement is shown to have a quantity in hand of 111 units. However, you know that some kind of normal and abnormal losses can be involved. So basically what will happen, that the physical count can either be, you can say, less than this particular count, or it can also be sometimes more than this particular count, because it is possible that we forget to record some sale or some purchase of this particular piece of inventory as well. All right. So in this report, what you can do, you can write the physical count, number of inventory, and this, by this you can actually make out the discrepancies that are basically in your records and physically the inventory that is basically available in your godowns. All right. So my dear friends, over here we will conclude our today's lecture, and in our next lecture we will discuss some further aspects of inventory. All right. So if you guys have any questions, you are free to ask me. Thank you.